everyone, my name is Miss Lisa and I'm here for the Fayette County Public Library, and this is Science Isn't Scary Out and About. Today I'm with John Burns here at Meadow Field at the Connersville Airport. And John has a lot to tell us today about the science of flight and about this plane that's behind us. So John actually has a degree in biology, but his passion is airplanes and aerospace. So John, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got interested in flight.
So science has always been something I've been interested in. And of course, like I say, I have a biology major. Probably was never good enough at math to have an engineering degree. But it didn't keep me away from the joy of airplanes and flight. You don't have to go much past algebra to learn to fly, so we're good there.
Good.
And I grew up not too far from here. And the airport was always in the background, but I never got to really participate in it because I didn't know anybody here. And so one of the passions that I've had is, both my enjoyment of flying, but also sharing that with other people. And so as my time went by, I got the opportunity to learn to fly in the Connersville Flying Club, which is a great opportunity that we have here at the airport. There's 6 of us that own an airplane that's just on the other side of this hangar. But it was really a passion to, I enjoy building things, I enjoy doing things. Legos were fun, right?
Right, always.
Absolutely. Well, this is like the world's largest kit. So, this is your model airplane, but no glue, all metal and rivets. And so it was really a fun thing for me to do. So I've been flying for about 16 years now, 17 years. And we just completed this in September. And my daughter helped me with it quite a bit. She is a engineering student at Purdue, and she'll be graduating soon. So it's really been a passion to spend time at the airport with aviation and learn and get to build something really kind of cool.
So now airplanes are heavy, and I don't understand it. How do they fly? Can you tell us about the science of flight?
Well, one of the interesting things about airplanes is we work really hard to keep them light.
Okay.
So as big as this is, it only weighs 808 pounds empty.
Wow.
And that's with engine and everything.
Wow, okay.
And every time we do anything with airplanes, we work through the 4 forces of flight. It's one of the things I teach our kids when they come here to the airport for classes. So there's lift and weight. Those 2 forces, lift obviously what the airplane's wings can generate and lift, always competes with how much the airplane weighs. And if I lose 10 pounds, we've got better lift, right?
Sure.
Or if the airplane loses 10 pounds, we've got better lift.
Okay.
And then the other 2 forces we deal with are thrust, which we can create with an engine and propeller, and drag, which is everything on the airframe that hangs out that creates drag. So those forces are always in balance when we're flying. So
wait, thrust is like the forward motion? Is that what that means?
It's what the engine pulls the airplane forward with thrust.
Okay.
So, on a jet engine, it can be thrust in the back, but on our propeller airplanes, it's the propeller pulling the airplane through the air, almost like a corkscrew.
Okay.
So,
fascinating.
And then this airplane is designed specifically to create a lot of extra lift, so it can fly very slow.
So now you said you actually built this airplane, right? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Did it come in pieces and you just put it together like a model, or how'd you do this?
So there were thousands of pieces.
Thousands.
Each piece was mostly pre-bent and shaped, but everything had to be put together and riveted together. It came in big wooden boxes.
Okay.
There's about 9,000 rivets that hold it together.
Wow.
So, and those holes had to be drilled for all 9,000 rivets.
Oh, so the holes weren't already there for you?
Some small holes were for pilot holes, but everything had to be enlarged and drilled and fitted.
Okay.
And then I had to purchase an engine.
Okay.
And install that. And this fiberglass cowling, the propeller, all these parts were separate. So.
Okay.
The engine was fully assembled. That was a
that's a big plus.
But some people build their own engines even.
Really? Wow. Cool. All right, so now can we maybe take a walk around the airplane and tell us a little bit about all of the parts on the airplane?
So, we start at the front. Every airplane needs an engine to create some kind of thrust.
Okay.
Most airplanes that we see, small airplanes, have a propeller. It goes through the air like a wing almost and creates a thrust or pull to pull the aircraft through the air. Sometimes the propeller can be mounted on the back and it can push.
Okay.
And every aircraft needs an engine. This one has a air-cooled engine that was built in Australia.
Okay.
So it came over on a flight actually to get over here. So And then, of course, every aircraft needs some form of lift. Helicopters may use rotors, but most airplanes, we use wings. And these wings are designed with extra lift through extended slats. And then, you know, you have to have a place to sit.
Yeah.
We've got a beautiful cockpit with 2 seats. Seats upholstery was done by a lady down in Brookville even, so
nice.
you have to find some friends along the way.
Yeah, right.
Spent about 10 years on this project in total.
Wow.
About 8 years building. Sometimes I didn't get a lot done, but some years, like during the pandemic,
yeah,
we got a lot done.
Got a lot done then, yes.
So there wasn't anything else that we had to go do. So.
All right, now we are inside the cockpit. So John, tell us about the instrument panel and what you have to do when you're inside the airplane.
So when we fly, we have some basic instruments that tell us things like what the altitude is, how fast the airplane is going, how fast it's going up or down.
Okay.
Because now we're in 3 dimensions. It's not just left and right, up and down adds to that.
Sure.
I have a small tablet that I use for navigation. It shows all the special aviation maps that we use. There's a radio there. We usually use this with a headset, and that radio lets us communicate with other pilots, with tower control if we need to, which we don't usually have to do. And this also gives me all my engine instruments here. We have 2 full tanks of fuel.
Yay.
And everything is good to go on here. So that's the very basics of it. There's also lights for flying at night, and these lights also strobe so that we can make sure other people can see us from a long way off. So, and then the basic instruments and controls for the engine. So,
is this like the steering wheel right here?
so it's similar. So
Joystick?
If you pull back, we go up.
Okay.
If you go left or right, we go left or right.
Obviously.
But there's also some rudder pedals down here.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 pedals down there that we use to steer the airplane on the ground and to help turn the airplane when it's in the air. And we also have here a throttle that push in, it goes faster. Pull back, the engine slows down. So,
And you have brakes in here somewhere, right?
on the top of those pedals do 2 things. We can push the top of those 2 pedals and it creates brakes.
Oh.
So, and it can help us stop when we get down on the runway. And also, because the brakes are separate, you can push on one brake and make it turn really tight on the ground.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
and that's really the basics. When I take kids flying, you know, the 10 to 15, 17-year-olds, most of them get to fly for a little while.
Really?
It's not real hard to fly. The challenge is always in landing. So.
Yeah, sure. So how many hours of like learning do you have to have before you can actually pilot on your own?
The minimum is actually just 40 hours.
Really?
Most people will take 50 to 60, but the minimum is 40. I did it in about 55. And then you can learn to be a glider pilot in even fewer hours. So there are some other shortcuts that you can do for that. I've flown this airplane now for almost 80 hours.
Okay. So where do you go around here to get airplane lessons?
You know, you can get airplane instruction, that's with a certified flight instructor, at most airports.
Okay.
We do have a certified flight instructor that comes here part-time. I learned right here at the Connersville Airport on
Very
Sunday
good.
afternoons. So,
Great. So you said you had 2 tanks of gas?
Yep.
And they're both full, so how far can you fly on that?
So there's a tank in each wing. That's
Oh.
15 gallons.
The wings.
Yep. We usually put the fuel in the wings because it keeps it at the center of the airplane's balance. And that way when we use up fuel, it doesn't change the balance of the airplane. And with that 30 gallons of fuel total, I use about 6 gallons every hour.
Okay.
So there you go, some little bit of math. You can figure out how many hours I can fly. And then how far depends upon the wind.
Okay.
Because the airplane will go 75 miles an hour, but if there's 10 miles of wind in our face, we're only making 65 over the ground.
Right.
But if there's a 10-mile-an-hour tailwind, we're doing 85.
Right.
So
So what's the farthest you've ever flown in this?
this airplane has been to Purdue.
Okay.
So I went up to pick up our daughter, and then we went to lunch, and we've been as far south as Greensburg, and we've been over into Ohio, around Dayton and Urbana, Ohio. But we will
Nice.
go on longer trips with it as time goes on.
So is there cargo space in here at all?
There's actually space behind us for
Oh,
baggage,
sure. Okay.
and we can actually put in this aircraft 80 pounds of baggage.
Wow, okay.
But for every pound that you put in, you have to make a balance. There's a limit to the total number of pounds that you can carry. So you can use a little less fuel and carry more pounds.
Okay.
Or you can have less baggage and have more fuel. Or you can lose 10 pounds.
Right, let's say, or if it's just a single person flying, then you could have more in here too as well.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, I think there's some things maybe in the back of the airplane you want to show us.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go back there and see what we can find out. All right, now we're back here at the end of the airplane. I guess we call it the tail.
The tail,
Okay.
or the empennage.
The empennage.
French
That's a word I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's hollow, right?
Yeah, everything back here is just a big box.
Okay.
And this one is made as a box. They're oftentimes made very round, but it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. It does taper back to the tail,
Right.
and we have the control surfaces back there that we talked about.
Right. That's so cool. And this part moves, right? Back and
The
forth?
rudder moves back and forth,
Uh-huh.
and the elevator moves up and down. And that causes the nose to pitch up or down, and this causes the tail to go, obviously, back and forth, almost like a fish.
Oh, cool. Right, sure. Wow.
And that's connected with cables up to those pedals in the cockpit.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Fascinating stuff, isn't it, boys and girls? The science of flight really isn't all that scary once you've learned it and you understand it. So I am here today with John Burns. I thank you so much for
It's been a pleasure.
telling us all about this stuff. So I'm Miss Lisa for the Fayette County Public Library, and this has been Science Isn't Scary Out and About. Hey, I bet you didn't think I was going to get to go for a ride, but I do! Yay! Let's go!
Absolutely.
Wow, we're already up off the ground.
Yeah,
Woo!
and we'll catch some of those little bumps I was talking about. The wind's a little gusty today,
Yeah.
so bring those flaps up and make it climb well.
That's so cool.
And we get up to about 1,000 feet or so, it should smooth out a little bit.
All right. That's so cool. Yeah, landing is always my, when I fly, you know,
Oh, me too.
really
Scares
places
me every
in,
time.
I just was like, ah.
Especially if I'm flying, it scares me to land.
Oh, you're doing great. This has been awesome.
We have a saying in aviation, takeoffs are optional, landings are mandatory.
Oh, yeah,
We will land the airplane.
we will. And I still haven't filled the wheels. There we go. We're down.